Welcome one and welcome all to the JRPG Century Club. Follow along with Rob in his quest to beat 100 JRPGs. Each week we delve into a new Japanese role-playing game, complete with the game's history, story, and other mechanics. Rob will also add his thoughts on each game, including what info made it up onto the big board. So grab your axe and shield, or staff and wizard hat if you're too squishy, and share this odyssey with me as I make it all the way to 100. Hello, my name is Rob Lennon. You may know me from the Taviren, a Wheel of Time podcast, or maybe from a couple guest appearances on the RPG After Years podcast. Welcome to the pilot episode of the JRPG Century Club. JRPG stands for Japanese role-playing games. I have been a gamer for my entire life, going all the way back to 1978, when my dad brought home an Atari 2600. Yes, I know. Cue the old guy yelling at the cloud beams. I get it. In 1991, I played and beat a game on the NES called Final Fantasy. This was my first delve into the world of JRPGs, and I absolutely loved it. Over the course of the years, I played many other JRPGs, but never really actually finished one besides Final Fantasy. I loved the franchise, but having only beaten one game in the series, how could I say I was a true fan? Over the years, gaming was always a part of my life in one way or another. I have a younger brother, and we would always share consoles. While I owned an NES, he had a Sega Master System. Then next generation, we flipped. He had a Super NES, and I had a Genesis. Through the late 90s and 2000s, I owned a PS1, Game Boy Advance, a PSP. By now, I'm a married man with 2 boys, thus the departure from consoles to mobile gaming. As my boys got older, they become gamers themselves. As a matter of fact, I stopped playing my youngest in Smash Ultimate. He owns me. He's way too freaking good at Smash Ultimate. We went through a heavy Nintendo phase, having a Wii and a Wii U. Yes, we were the one American family that owned a Wii U. For Christmas 2016, my very, very awesome wife got me a PS4 Pro for Christmas/birthday. I am one of those very unfortunate souls to have my birthday on or around Christmas. Wah, wah. Anyway, now being the owner of a brand spanking new PS4 Pro, the world of JRPGs just became wide open to me. On top of being a gamer, I'm also a number spreadsheet guy. Put the two together, and an idea was born. I decided, starting in 2017, to track my progress playing JRPGs. I started with the Final Fantasy franchise, and went on to add other great franchises to my list. I have kept my own listing of the JRPGs I've played, complete with stats on each game that I kept. I call this spreadsheet the Big Board. On any game I've played or beaten, you can see the following stats tracked. The system that I played the game on, progression, simply my current playtime divided by the story-only playtime found on howlongtobeat.com. This shows a gauge of my progress, and when going over 100% could show how much extra content I experienced. I am not a completionist by any stretch of the word, but I do like to see as much content as I can, within reason. None of this dodging 200 lightnings in a row bullshit. The North American release date. My playtime. Yes, I do track my time on older games that did not track playtimes on their own. In these cases, I just tracked the time I was actively playing. Not the most accurate, I know, but I had to do what I had to do with the resources I had. Main character, be it a name of my choosing or the character's predetermined name. Current or final level. I did have to be creative on a few titles that didn't have traditional levels. I'm looking at you, Final Fantasy II. The current and final hit points. Because, why not? The final boss. I don't have one, but I imagine a wall with pictures of all the final bosses, with X's crossed through them as I beat them. Rating. You can't have a video game podcast without a review score, can you? I know this has been done to death. I'll give my ratings, but I won't dwell too much on them, I swear. The JCC score. A funky little formula of my own device. It's theoretically playtime times progression, the sum divided by final level. What this formula gives us is a determination of how much extra stuff I was able to do outside of the main quest. This number is not reflecting on how I rate a game. There are some highly rated games with a lower score, and there are some games that may have received a lower rating with a higher JCC score. It just boils down to how much stuff did I actually do in the game. And yeah, I gave myself air quotes there for the stuff. I started with the Final Fantasy franchise. Between the PS4, my PC, and my phone, all 15 mainline Final Fantasy games were now accessible to me. No more fake fan who only beat one game for me. I made it my goal to beat all 15 mainline Final Fantasy games. You can, follow my progress in that quest via this podcast. I added a few more classic JRPG franchises to the list, and a few more single JRPGs, and even a few non-JRPGs from other companies. All in all, my list is around 90-ish games. I haven't beaten all these games, but I hope to. I figured, why not round that up to an even 100? This is my JRPG journey across all generations of gaming. Each week, I will bring one of the games I've beaten to the forefront. I'll go over everything from the companies and the individuals who made these great games, a production history, an overview of the stories and gameplay, and my personal thoughts and review score, plus my own special notes and stats regarding my experiences with the games. I'll also be giving updates to the games as I am currently playing them. I normally do not stick to just one game on my list. I have my own process that rotates the games that I play, so I avoid burnout, staying with the same game for too long. One thing JRPGs can be is long. What I find I try to do is play them in 25-hour chunks and rotate them maybe 3 or 4 games as I go, keeping things fresh. I'll also try to delve into JRPG news as it comes about. I won't be your comprehensive source for JRPG news, but I'll do my best. If you want sources of comprehensive JRPG news podcasts, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be able to tell you who I listen to and who I follow. More news-worthy podcasting. Currently, I'm playing Fell Seal Arbiter's Mark. I've also been playing Trails in the Sky, second chapter. And I am contemplating adding the Ys franchise to my list of games, getting us ever closer to that true 100 mark. Next week, I'll be going over the first game on my list, Final Fantasy II. The real Final Fantasy II, not the North American SNES title. We'll get into that in a few weeks. I will also be working on getting my social network footprint out there. In the meantime, you can always email me at taverenpod@gmail.com, which is the email we use for our other podcast, the Taveren A Wheel of Time podcast. Spelled out, that is TAVERENPOD @gmail.com. I'm also lurking on several different Discord servers. The RPG After Years, I'm known as Rob Al Lennon. I will include a link to their Discord as well as the Taveren Discord. Thanks for listening and joining me on this journey that started back in 2017. Please rate and review if listening on an Apple device, or shoot me an email. I hope to hear from you, even if it's constructive criticism. I accept all forms of critique as long as it is constructive. I always strive to make the best possible product, and it helps the process. All right, I think I'm going to stop here. I think I will see you next week with Final Fantasy II and game number 1 on the JRPG Century Club. Take care, friends. Good day.